Christmas University Challenge. Asking the questions, Emil Virgin.
Hello and welcome once again to Christmas University Challenge, our annual competition for alumni. With 3 of this year's heats played, the team from Bangor are currently top of the winners' leaderboard and therefore guaranteed a spot in the semi-finals. If tonight's teams want to be sure of joining them, they'll need to win with a score of 175 points or more. Tonight's first set of hopefuls are all graduates of Oxford's Corpus Christi College and include, firstly, a Professor of Cognitive Neuroscience at King's College London who specialises in the study of autism. Her numerous accolades include the Royal Society's Rosalind Franklin Award, the British Psychological Society's Spearman Medal and an OBE. It's been said of their second player that you are no one in British politics until you've been the subject of one of his documentary profiles. Over a 50-year career as a political reporter and filmmaker, he's interviewed 8 prime ministers and countless more top politicians, dug deep into topics ranging from the workings of Whitehall to UK-US relations, and written several books, including 2023's Unmasking Our Leaders. Their captain is the author of a number of best-selling books on mathematics and puzzles, as well as the children's book series Football School. He was Pelé's ghostwriter, is also The Guardian's puzzle columnist and the inventor of Loop, a game of pool played on an elliptical table. Completing their team is a playwright best known for his works on political subjects, including Temple, Limehouse and The Contingency Plan, a diptych of plays about climate change. He's also Professor of Scriptwriting at UEA. Let's hear them introduce themselves in the usual way.
Hello, I'm Francesca Happe, and I studied experimental psychology and graduated in 1988.
Hello, I'm Michael Cockrell. I studied politics, philosophy and economics and graduated in 1962.
And their captain?
Hi, I'm Alex Bellos. I studied mathematics and philosophy and I graduated in 1990.
Hi, I'm Steve Waters. I studied English literature and language and I graduated in 1987.
They're playing a team of Edinburgh alumni, whose first player is an architect best known for his work in Edinburgh itself, which includes the Scottish Storytelling Centre, social housing developments and studios for the charity Dance Base. He's also a writer, policymaker and advocate for sustainability in architecture. Next to him is a multi-award-winning food and drink broadcaster. He writes a weekly wine column for the Daily Mail's Weekend magazine and is a regular wine expert on Saturday Kitchen. He's also written 6 books and hosts the podcast A Glass With, whose guests have included Kylie Minogue, Pink and Dawn French. Their captain was leader of the Scottish Conservative Party from 2011 to 2019 and now sits in the House of Lords. She's also a regular newspaper columnist and presents a weekly live show on Times Radio. Their final player is a journalist, writer and award-winning documentary maker on LGBTQ issues broadly and trans equality in particular. With director Jeannie Finlay, he documented his experiences of pregnancy in the film Seahorse and published his first children's book with Puffin last year. Let's meet this year's team of Edinburgh alumni.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Fraser. I studied architecture and graduated in 1984.
Hi, I'm Ollie Smith and I studied English literature. I graduated in 1998.
And their captain?
Hi, I'm Ruth Davidson. I studied general arts, majoring in English and Scottish literature, and I graduated in 1999.
Hi, I'm Freddie McConnell. I studied Arabic and I graduated in 2010.
I think you guys know how it works, but let me remind you of the few rules that we have. Starter questions must be answered individually on the buzzer without conferring. If you get one right, you earn your team 10 points and the chance to answer 3 bonus questions worth 5 points each. Fingers on buzzers then. Here is your first starter for 10. Which leader gained power on the deaths of his father Antipater and brother Phasael, taking control of Idumea, Samaria and Galilee, and subsequently capturing neighbouring regions and ruling with Roman support before his death in 4 BCE? In the New Testament, he is portrayed as a tyrant ruling Judea at the time of the birth of Jesus.
Corpus Christi Happe.
Herod?
It is Herod, yes. Your bonuses, Corpus Christi, are 3 questions on a 17th century artist. Described in one review as one of the stillest, smallest voices within the pantheon of old master painting, which artist was the subject of a sellout exhibition at Amsterdam's Rijksmuseum in 2023?
Vermeer?
Vermeer.
Correct. This is a quote. "Ever since I saw it, I've known that I had seen the most beautiful painting in the world." These words of Marcel Proust refer to a painting depicting Vermeer's home city entitled A View of... where?
Delft.
Correct. In 2022, which of Vermeer's paintings was attacked by climate change activists at a museum in The Hague? It was the subject of a 1999 historical novel by Tracy Chevalier.
The girl with the pearl earring.
It is the girl with the pearl earring, yes, well done. So let's start the question. I need a language here. In 2023, the Blue Book of Nebo by Manon Stefan Ross became the first translated book to win the Carnegie Medal for children's and young adult fiction. What was the original language of this work? Its title and opening pages reference medieval manuscripts such as the Red Book of Hergest and the Black Book of Carmarthen.
Corpus Christi, what is?
Welsh?
It is Welsh, yes. Your bonuses, Corpus Christi, are on English words derived from North American languages of the Algonquian subfamily. In each case, give the word from the definition. First, from the Powhatan language, formerly spoken in what is now Virginia, a word for a diverse group of mammals of the order Didelphimorphia. They are one of the few marsupials outside of Australia.
Raccoons?
Raccoons.
No, it's an opossum. Secondly, from the Narragansett language, formerly spoken in what is now Rhode Island, a word for a small clam of the genus Mercenaria. It gives its name to the fictional Rhode Island town that is the setting for the animated series Family Guy.
Oyster.
Oyster.
Oyster. No, it's quahog. And finally, originating from Mi'kmaq or Maliseet, languages of Canada's Atlantic provinces and the US state of Maine, a word for a type of lightweight, flat-bottomed sled that curves upward at one end.
A toboggan.
It is toboggan, yes, well done. Now let's start a question now. Also known as a foliate head, what two-word name is more usually given to an ornamental motif commonly found in churches built in Norman and Gothic periods that typically represents a male face with leaves growing from around the mouth?
Corpus Christi, what is?
Green Man?
Green Man is correct, yeah. Your bonuses, Corpus Christi, are on late goals that won European football finals. I need the surname of a player in each case. Which English player scored in the 90th minute for West Ham to win 2-1 against Fiorentina in the 2023 Europa Conference League final?
No.
Yes.
Declan Rice.
No, it was Bowen, Jared Bowen. Which Serbian scored for Chelsea to win 2-1 against Benfica in the 2013 Europa League final?
Dzeko.
No, it was Ivanovic. Who scored the winning goal for Manchester United against Bayern Munich in the 1999 Champions League final?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
It was Solskjaer, yeah. Plenty of time, Edinburgh. See if you can get going with this one. It's a picture round now. For your picture starter, you'll see the word for a food item in the language of the country where it is generally believed to have originated. For 10 points, name the food item.
Edinburgh McConnell.
Sweetbread.
No.
Corpus Christi Cockerel.
Sugar biscuit.
No, that was a German for candy cane. It's literally German for sugar pole. We'll do your picture bonuses in a moment when we get a starter right. Fingers on buzzers. What term can mean both the following? In biology, the process by which cells, tissues and organs acquire specialised features of form and function. And in mathematics, a method of calculating the rate of change of a function that is...
Edinburgh McConnell.
Adaptation.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. The rate of change of a function that is one of the two traditional branches of calculus.
Corpus Christi Bellos.
Differentiation.
It is differentiation, yeah. It would have been embarrassing if you got that one wrong. Your bonuses then. Having seen the German word for candy cane for your picture starter, for your picture bonuses, in each case, you're going to see the word for a common Christmas food item translated into several European languages. 5 points for each food you can identify. First, these are all terms for which vegetable?
Brussels sprout.
Yes, it is Brussels sprouts. Secondly?
Turkey.
Turkey. Yes. Turkey.
Correct. Finally?
Chestnut.
Yeah. Chestnut.
Yes, it is a chestnut, yeah. Let's start the question then. In November 2022, which country beat Australia in the final of tennis's Davis Cup to win the competition for the first time? Its team included Denis Shapovalov and Felix Auger-Aliassime.
Edinburgh McConnell.
Canada.
It is Canada, yes. Well done. Your bonuses then, Edinburgh. 3 questions on a category of alcohol. Often consumed as a digestif, what category of alcoholic drink takes its name from the Italian for bitter? Examples include Nonino, Braulio and Averna.
Amari.
Yes. The Amaro Sinar is named after what vegetable? It is a species of thistle.
Artichoke.
Correct. First produced in 1885 and with notes of orange zest, vanilla and coriander. What type of Amaro shares its name with the country whose capital is Podgorica?
Montenegro is Puerto Rico.
Not sure.
North Macedonia, sorry.
Not what I know.
Montenegro.
Never sipped it.
Montenegro.
It is Montenegro. Well done. Another starter question now. From the Greek for work, what name is given to the scientific study of the efficiency of people in their working environments?
Corpus Christi happy.
Ergonomics.
It is ergonomics, yes. Your bonus is Corpus Christi are 3 questions on solid geometry. With Schleffi symbol 433, what single name is given to the 4-dimensional analogue of the cube, sometimes referred to as the hypercube?
Tesseract.
Yes. A tesseract has 16 vertices. How many edges does it have?
16.
Call yourself a mathematician. Honestly, it's 32. On display in the New York Met, the 1954 work Crucifixion, Corpus Hypercubus, depicting the crucified Christ on the polyhedron net of a tesseract, is by which Spanish artist?
Spanish artist we know of.
Oh, Dali.
Dali. Oh, yeah, Salvador Dali.
It is Salvador Dali. Well done. Now start the question. This is a quote. The stupidity of people comes from having an answer to everything. The wisdom of the novel comes from having a question for everything. These are the words of which Central European author who died in Paris in 2023?
Corpus Christi Waters.
Milan Kundera.
It is Milan Kundera. Well done. Your bonus is Corpus Christi are 3 questions on translations of English language works of speculative fiction. First, while the original title of Huxley's Brave New World is taken from The Tempest, its French title, Le Meilleur des Mondes, refers to a recurring phrase spoken by Dr. Pangloss in which 18th century work?
Candide.
It is. In his translation of A Clockwork Orange, Yevgeny Sinelshikov drafted a Russian version of which fictional language? In it, he used English words in Cyrillic script in place of the Russian-derived words of the original version.
It was in a Rodney or something, I can't remember, Droog or something like that.
A Droog?
Yeah, Droog. Was it?
Yeah, Droog.
No, it's Nadzak. Finally, in various translations of Animal Farm, Hercules, Spartacus and Samson are among the names given to which character? He is known for his repeated maxim, I will work harder.
Boxer. Boxer.
Boxer. Boxer.
It is Boxer, yes. Let's start a question now. What term describes a crime recognised in 10 countries, including France, Ecuador and Ukraine, but not yet adopted as such by the International Criminal Court and defined by lawyers in a draft law in 2021 as unlawful or wanton acts committed with knowledge that there is a substantial likelihood of severe and widespread or long-term damage to the environment?
Edinburgh Fraser.
Ecocide.
Ecocide is correct, yes, well done. Your bonuses, Edinburgh, are 3 questions on rivers of Ukraine. One of Europe's longest, which river flows through Kyiv and Kherson, forming a long estuary north of the Crimean Peninsula?
Dnipro.
The Dnipro River.
It is. What is the second longest river in Ukraine? It rises in the Carpathian Mountains and flows through Moldova before meeting the Black Sea near Odessa?
The Dniester.
Yes, usually pronounced Dniester. Finally, flowing through western Ukraine, the Prut, or Prut, is a tributary of which longer river that forms a large delta in Romania?
Danube.
The Danube.
You know your rivers. Yes, well done. It is the Danube. Music round now. And for your music starter, you'll hear a song from a musical film. For 10 points, identify the film.
With a smile and a song, life is just like a bright sunny day. Your cares fade away, and your heart is young.
Edinburgh McConnell.
Snow White.
All right, we'll accept that. The full title is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That was With a Smile and a Song from Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This was the first feature-length film produced by Disney Studios, which this year marks its 100th anniversary. Your music bonuses are 3 more songs from early Disney feature films. In each case, identify the film in which the song appears. First, for 5 points, this 1941 film.
Look out for Mr. Stork, that persevering chap, to come along and drop a bundle in your lap. You may be poor or rich.
Yeah.
Dumbo.
Dumbo is correct. Secondly, this film, released in 1942.
Let's get together and sing all night long. Let's sing this game.
Is it Cinderella, maybe? Cinderella wasn't that one, no. What's that? Yeah. Song of the South?
No, it's Bambi. Finally, this film of 1940.
Pinocchio.
Of course it is, it's Pinocchio, yes. Let's start a question now. What 3 words link both of these? In computing, the acronym NAN, associated with floating point calculations, and in broadcasting history, the words that follow I am in a negative statement made by Patrick McGowan in the cult television series
Edinburgh Fraser.
Not a number.
Not a number. Is it? Yes, it is. Well done. Your bonuses are on board games that have won the Spiel des Jahres or Game of the Year award. In each case, identify the game from the description. First, the 2001 winner. This game makes use of tiles representing cities, roads, fields and cloisters in southern France, as well as playing pieces called meeples.
Carcassonne.
Correct. Secondly, the 2018 winner, noted for its artwork. Here, players take the role of an artist drafting tiles to decorate the walls of a palace. Its title is a single Portuguese word.
We don't know.
It's Azul. Finally, the 2004 winner, in which players build rail routes across a map of the USA and southern Canada. The game shares its name with a song by the Beatles.
Ticket to Ride?
It is Ticket to Ride. Well done, yes. Let's start a question. Having joined the European Union 10 years earlier, which country entered the Eurozone at the start of 2023, phasing out its former currency unit, the kuna?
Corpus Christi Waters.
Croatia.
It is Croatia, yes. Your bonuses, Corpus Christi, are on events of 1973. In 1973, women were admitted to which London-based institution for the first time in its 200-year history? Formally established in 1773, it moved to 10 Paternoster Square near St Paul's Cathedral in 2004.
The city, something business.
Royal Exchange, it could be the Stock Exchange.
Stock Exchange?
It is the London Stock Exchange, yes. First published in 1973, which novel begins, there were 117 psychoanalysts on the Pan Am flight to Vienna, and I'd been treated by at least 6 of them.
Fear of Flying, is it?
Fear of Flying? Fear of Flying?
Yes, by Erica Jong, of course. Finally, taking place in September 1973, the Battle of the Sexes exhibition tennis match saw Billie Jean King beat which American tennis player in straight sets? 6-4, 6-3, 6-3.
Yeah, Jimmy Connors?
No, it was Bobby Riggs. Bobby Riggs. They became mates eventually. Another starter question. I need a title here in English or German. Published in 1783, Prolegomena to Any Future Metaphysics restates and summarises the arguments of what longer work, published 2 years earlier by a leading philosopher. The work in question is often known by the abbreviation CPR.
Critique of Pure...
You need a buzz.
Corpus Christi Bellos.
Critique of Pure Reason?
It is a critique of pure reason by Kant, yes. Your bonuses, Corpus Christi, are 3 questions on recent popular life science books. Kindred by Rebecca Ragg Sykes bears the subtitle Life, Love, Death and Art, of which early humans, estimated to have disappeared somewhere between 35,000 and 24,000 years ago?
Neanderthals, can't think of anything else. Neanderthal?
Correct. Works by Eric R. Eaton and Oliver Millman concern which class of the phylum Arthropoda? The latter concerns population changes and is subtitled The Fall of the Tiny Empires That Run the World.
It's insects, flying insects.
Insects or ants?
Insects, it's flying insects.
Arthropods.
Arthropods.
Yeah.
but I think it's generally about
Well,
insects.
insects.
Yes. What fundamental biological unit completes the title of this recent work by Siddhartha Mukherjee? The Song of the what?
Cell.
Cell is correct, yes. Plenty of time, Edinburgh. See if we get going again with this one. What adjective can precede all of these? Veil in mycology, to describe a temporary protective membrane that envelops immature mushrooms. Grammar in linguistics, to denote a theory of innate language faculty associated with Noam Chomsky. And indicator in chemistry, to describe a mixture of dyes.
Corpus Christi Waters.
Generative.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. To describe a mixture of dyes that will change colour gradually over a range of pH.
Edinburgh McConnell.
Pre.
No, it's universal. Now let's start the question. He received every new idea as perfectly beautiful is the title of the first chapter in the Pulitzer Prize-winning American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin, a biography of...
Corpus Christi Waters.
Oppenheimer.
It is J. Robert Oppenheimer, yes. Your bonuses then, Corpus Christi, are 3 questions on the US singer and civil rights activist Harry Belafonte, who died in 2023. A great man. Its tracks including the Banana Boat song, which 1956 album by Belafonte became the first album to sell more than 1 million copies in the United States. Its single word name is a style of music originating in Trinidad.
Calypso.
Yeah, Calypso.
It is Calypso. In 1954, Belafonte starred alongside Dorothy Dandridge in which film directed by Otto Preminger? It was an adaptation of a staged musical, itself based on an opera by Bizet.
Carmen Jones.
Yes. In 1965, which South African-born singer won a Best Folk Recording Grammy Award for a collaborative album made with Belafonte? Known as Mama Africa, she had earlier settled in the USA with Belafonte's help.
Miriam Makeba.
Well done, yeah. Another side of question now, and it's a picture round. For your picture starter, you'll see a photograph. For 10 points, name the US president pictured standing on the left of the photo.
Corpus Christi Cockerel.
Herbert Hoover.
No, you can have a bit more time, Edinburgh, but not that much time.
Edinburgh Davidson.
Gerald Ford?
No, it's Coolidge. It's Calvin Coolidge. Now let's start the question then. Its name derived from the Greek for dragon. Which herb belongs to the Artemisia genus of plants, which also includes sagebrush, wormwood, and common mugwort? This herb is used to flavour the Georgian stew chakopuli and is the main flavouring agent in béarnaise sauce.
Corpus Christi Bellos.
Tarragon.
It is tarragon, yes, exactly. You should cook more with it, it's delicious. Goes very well with chicken. Your picture starter was a photograph of President Coolidge lighting the national Christmas tree in Washington, D.C. Coolidge was the first president to light the tree in 1923, which has since become an annual tradition for the president and first lady of the US. For your bonuses, you'll see 3 more photographs of the tree being lit. Again, I want you to name the president pictured in each case. First...
Could be Herbert Hoover this time.
We're going to go for Hoover this time.
Yes, it is. Secondly...
Truman.
Truman.
Yes, and finally...
LBJ. Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Yeah. I nominate Cockerell.
Just because he enjoyed getting it right. Another side of question. Born in London in 1915, the songwriter Sidney Carter is probably best known for which contemporary worship hymn? His portrayal of Jesus was partly inspired by the Hindu deity Lord Shiva, who shares one of his titles with that of Carter's hymn.
Corpus Christi Waters.
Lord of the Dance.
It certainly is, yeah. Your bonuses, Corpus Christi, are on Italian islands. Name each from the description. First, located off the north coast of Sicily, the Aeolian island, nicknamed the Lighthouse of the Mediterranean for the steady glow emitted by its volcano of the same name. The volcano has erupted almost continuously since 1932.
Stromboli.
It is Stromboli. Secondly, another volcanic island, the largest in the Campanian archipelago in the Bay of Naples. It has mineral-rich hot springs, botanical gardens, and an Aragonese castle.
Did you think Capri? I don't know. Could be Capri.
Capri?
No, it's Ischia. Finally, which Roman deity, the god of fire and the forge, gives his name to the southernmost of the Aeolian Islands?
Vulcan, something.
Come on.
Volcano.
Yes, Volcano's the Italian name. Let's start the question now. Kellin in Welsh, Steckpalmer in German, Acebo in Spanish, Hulst in Dutch, and that's H-O-U-X in French are all words for what plant associated with the Christmas season?
Corpus Christi Waters.
Holly?
It is holly, yes. Your bonus is Corpus Christi are 3 questions on the 14th century Queen Regnant, Joanna I of Naples. By descent from Charles, son of Louis VIII of France, Joanna belonged to which branch of the Capetian dynasty, named after a county in northwest France? A different house, named after the same county, ruled England from 1154 to 1216.
Norman?
Yeah. Well,
Norman?
Norman?
No, that was Anjou. Second, in order to clear her name after the assassination of her husband, Joanna, in her capacity of Countess of Provence, sold which city to Pope Clement VI in 1348? It would remain a papal holding for over 400 years?
Avignon.
Yes. A contemporary account of Joanna's life is the final entry in On Famous Women, a historical work by which Florentine author? He is better known for a collection of 100 short stories.
Boccaccio.
I nominate Waters.
Boccaccio.
It is Boccaccio, yeah, Giovanni Boccaccio. Now, to start a question, of the 88 constellations recognised by the International Astronomical Union, which is the smallest? It is nevertheless easily distinguished, as the 4 stars that mark its distinctive shape all have an apparent magnitude greater than 3, and it appears on a number of national flags, including Papua New Guinea, Samoa...
Edinburgh Fraser.
Alpha Centauri.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. Samoa, New Zealand and Australia.
Corpus Christi Waters.
Southern Cross?
It is a Southern Cross, yes. Well done. Your bonuses, Corpus Christi, are 3 questions on a subculture. Popularised by a 1990 music video by Madonna, which style of dance originated from the Harlem ballroom scene in New York in the late 1980s?
Do I have to do it? Voguing.
You can do it if you like. It won't get you any more points, but you will go viral. And at the gong, Edinburgh University have 80 and Corpus Christi Oxford have 265. Oh, Edinburgh. What a magnificent performance against an annoyingly good team.
Very frustrating, yes, yes.
Faster fingers and bigger brains.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Faster fingers and better general knowledge.
And bigger brains, yeah. Faster fingers and bigger brains.
But you got the questions on alcohol and rivers of Ukraine, right? So, you know, that's the main thing. Can you explain your very bizarre mascot to us?
It's a piece of the Meadows in Edinburgh. We brought it with us.
We stole it from the Green Room.
We stole it from the Green Room. Yeah.
We didn't have a mascot. We really wanted one, so we brought the Meadows.
Well, it looks absolutely terrific. We've really enjoyed having you. Thank you for coming and playing so well. You were beaten by an extraordinary performance, really. We haven't seen anything like that so far in this season. Well done, guys. I've got to ask you about your monumentally bizarre mascot over there, which is so big that it couldn't fit on your table. Who is that?
It's a pelican, and it's the symbol of Corpus Christi.
Ah, excellent. Well, we're going to see you and it again, if there's room on this set. I hope we're going to see you again as well. I hope you can join us for another match in this Christmas series. But until then, it's goodbye from Edinburgh.
Bye.
Bye.
It's goodbye from Corpus Christi.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.